Hey guys, welcome to Living in South Florida Does Not Suck. This is Andrew Burr from the Andrew Burr Group at Coldwell Banker. We can't wait to get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Living in South Florida Does Not Suck. Today, my guest is Zach Phillips from Kelp Phillips, PA. Zach is a title attorney, a family. Well, not really family. I mean, you do my family stuff. That's not really your thing, but you do equestrian law. What else do you do?
Commercial law, probate, estate planning.
Well, estate planning, that's what I meant. Estate planning. That's what I meant by family law, not family law. I meant estate planning because he actually handles all of my family stuff. So thank you, Zach.
Thank you for having me.
But that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about why living in South Florida does not suck, as you guys know. And Zach has a very different perspective on that. He kind of pissed me off the other day because I called him for a business question. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm in Key West for lunch, man. Is it important?" I'm like, "What the hell do you mean you're in Key West for lunch?" He's like, "Oh, I had a buddy in town." So we flew down there because Zach's also a pilot. So he flies out of his backyard to Key West to have lunch and doesn't invite people like me that send him lots of business every year. But that's okay. But that being said, because I do want to hear about, I want to have a couple questions about that flight. But in general terms, you have your family here. You live, Zach lives here in Wellington, Florida. We've been doing sort of the Wellington-centric stuff here lately. What do you love about living in South Florida and living in Wellington? I mean, what makes you love living here?
So I guess the first answer would be the weather. It doesn't suck. It's very warm all the time. So
that's usually like the number one or number two answer. So that's not surprising. But yeah,
the closet answer.
Yep.
Wellington in general, my family is really involved in horses. So we're in the horse mecca, capital of the North America. For me personally, you mentioned I live in an aero club community, so I have a unique ability to fly whenever I want to.
And when he says that, he means that instead of going in his garage to get his car, he goes in the big garage and gets in the plane, backs the plane out, and hits the runway and takes off. So that everybody understands what aero club it means. Or it's not aero club. Aero club's the name of the community, but what they call them is fly-in, fly-out communities. We have several of them down here in South Florida, but aero club's one of the nicer ones. So.
Yeah. I think it's one of the longer standing ones.
Yeah, you guys can take.
For a while.
You expanded it so you can take jets, right? So,
they have jets now. Getting a lot of helicopters, actually. A lot of people.
When are you going to upgrade to a jet?
I want to hit the lottery.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy. Air Club is really cool because they have, it's like a full service airport, except for the tower is automated, right?
Yeah,
you don't have a little dude sitting in there.
No, it's a unicom, so it's just everyone's on the same radio frequency and talks.
Oh. So it's not like you don't have all the Flight 97, watch out for the idiot on the left. And stuff.
No, we don't have any sort of air traffic control.
You say, hey, is there anybody on the runway? I'm coming in.
Yep, basically.
Cool. And so, speaking of Key West, because I am curious, like if you were to fly out of your house, your airport, and you land in Key West, how long does it take you?
Just over an hour, so about an hour and 15 minutes.
So you're over water then. You got to be. You can't. So
technically, if I went direct, it'd be a little quicker, but with the type of plane I have, I like to stay
within sight of
land.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a different rating too to like jump over certain bodies of water too, right?
Yeah. Well, I have the rating. It's an instrument rating, but I don't have you need proper equipment. You need like a life raft and all that kind of stuff.
But because what is your plane? A 2-seater or 4-seater?
It's a 4-seater single piston Cirrus SR20 is what it is.
It means nothing to me, but okay. He has a plane that could take an additional person to Key West for lunch if he goes again with only one person in the plane. Is basically what he's saying.
Anytime.
Yeah, that's it. Well, hey, look, man. And I mean, I have a business line in the Keys. I sell real estate down there, and there's nothing that would make me happier than having to call you and say, "Hey, Zach, man, you got time to fly me to Marathon? I got somebody flying in. We got to get them taken care of."
Yeah, anytime. Go down to the Keys, definitely.
Yeah. And then we'll get you an office down there and have second line of business down there too. So,
that'd be nice.
Yeah, because even more than Palm Beach County, living in the Keys doesn't suck. I mean, every time I'm in Key Largo, it's just awesome. That's actually how this podcast came to be, or the name of the podcast. So I have a little home bar that's about a mile from my house, both by water and by land in Key Largo, called Schnucks Bayside. Shout out to Schnucks Bayside. Hey, Trish. Hey, Elena. Hey, Yerka. ladies, see you next weekend. But I would sit there and I would forget I'm wearing my shirt because you guys only see the front of this. So if you guys don't know me, the back of my shirt says I'm a realtor, ask me in like 2.5-inch high letters. It literally, that's what it says, which can be a blessing or a curse, right?
Sure.
So the reason I even started doing business down there, I was never gonna, but I'm sitting at the bar one day and guy smacks me on the back, like hits me kind of hard, smacks me on the back. Oh, you realtors, you're all a bunch of assholes, basically, whatever. I can say that, right? It's my podcast. Okay, thank you. And that's basically what he says. I'm like, okay, right, look, I'm going to agree with you. Like, I totally agree with you. Most realtors are pretty worthless, like, whatever. But what exactly is the problem? Guy's like, we're from Chicago. We were talking to this guy for like, 2 months, man. And then we flew down there to look at houses and he ghosted us and whatever. We got to leave tomorrow at 11. We're supposed to look at, and I'm like, I literally pull out my phone. I go, well, what's the address of the house? And I go on realtor.com and I go, ugh, and I know how to find the listing agent if you want to know. And I call a listing agent. I'm like, hey, there's this guy over at a bar. He was supposed to see your place with what's. She's like, yeah, they no-showed. He's like, well, I'm like, no, they didn't no-show. The realtor no-showed. Can we get in there, tomorrow morning? She's like, I don't know, but I'll call you back. So sure enough, they get us in there the next morning. Now, they didn't buy that house. They bought another house for me for $1.6 million. But so that was, but that's not what I was trying to say. That just kind of came out. But the reason it's called Living in South Florida Does Not Suck was because inevitably when I'm sitting at the bar and people find out I live there, I'm hey, what was it like living there? Like, it doesn't suck. I mean, you're looking at the water, and literally looking at the water, beautiful weather and all that. It doesn't suck. It just doesn't. So when I thought about what's my podcast going to be named, I thought, well, I was just going to say doesn't suck, but then nobody would really, they would just not relate to anything.
Sure.
But so that's where we're at with that.
It's a beautiful place to live, that's for sure.
It is a beautiful place to live. Now you have, what, you got 2 kids?
2 kids.
Two kids.
5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And assumedly they're active outdoor kind of children?
Yeah, absolutely. Always out on probably 90% of the time in the pool, but also the trampoline if it's and the backyard.
Sort of playground.
Sort of playground area, yeah.
Yeah. And that's in the other, so the pool thing, down here it is very, very common to have, a pool at your house, which is nice, or your, community or something like that. And we have, outside of probably, and I assume like Southern California or Arizona, they probably have similar ratios.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a crazy high ratio of pools and all that sort of stuff. But one of the things that we often hear from people is that how long have you been in South Florida?
Most of my life. So
yeah, I was going to say, you're a long time. Yeah. So you don't really have a whole lot of...
express my age on the air here.
You're 17, whatever. That's at least that's what you look like. 17 with
thanks.
a beard. But a lot of times what happens is people talk about coming from up north and they talk about the fact that, when you're cold, there's times when you just feel like you can't get warm. And there's times when you can't get warm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, down here, at least if it's hot, we do have, there are hotter summers down there and stuff like that. And, but you can, hop in the pool, get in the AC and stuff like that, and you can remedy that. But when you're up, north and you're out in frigid weather, even if you got 5 layers on, all that sort of stuff, it's still, you feel that like sort of biting cold to your core.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they ask, you come down here to South Florida, oh, it's hot. It's, hot all the time, right? What's your answer to that?
I would agree, but sure beats shoveling snow.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much, that's pretty concise. So you and your wife, pre-kids, what was your favorite thing to do in, the area?
Yeah, that's a good question. We probably would go out on a boat, go to the beach, go to restaurants. There's a lot of good fresh seafood that is very good. And I feel like there's a festival every weekend. I mean, just whether in Wellington, Delray, West Palm, there's always something going on. It's not like you're just there's a lot of options as far as things to do during the weekend, which is very nice.
Now, did you guys? Are you a golfer? I don't know. I've never asked.
I just recently started back golfing, probably last year, and that's a good point. There's all kinds of county courses around Palm Beach County that a lot of them are in better shape as some of the private clubs. I mean,
that's true.
Really take care of them.
Yeah, Palm Beach County does a fantastic job with not only the public golf courses but the public parks, and we got we got more parks around here, and like you said, festivals. There's so much to do, and it's all outdoor based because we do live in South Florida, so that's what we generally do. You mentioned the beach, and I ask everybody that comes on here, and you have kids now, which makes a difference. But honestly, for me, I think we spent more time on the beach when we had, when our daughter was younger. Than we do now, which is like we almost never spend time on the beach. I mean, we spend time on the water, but not. When's the last time you went to the beach?
Actually, pretty recently. It was in recently January. So
that's not bad. I mean, because that's a huge difference. Once again, that comes up a lot. We live in Wellington. We live way out west, so we never get to the beach, even though we're about 7 miles from the beach.
Yeah. 12. So yeah.
Well, Well, 12. It depends on. So basically, if you take 441, I think 441 7 miles.
Okay.
And then you can add
a couple
maybe
miles.
It's jog to 7 miles. I don't know.
Well,
one of those two.
I usually say about 45 minutes to the beach from where I'm at.
Yeah, but it takes you 10 minutes to get out of Wellington.
Just to get to 441.
Yeah, just to get out of Wellington. Yeah. But yeah, and look, it can be 45 minutes, but I don't know. I feel like it's like half an hour, but I'm a little further east than you, so. Anyways, but the point is that we take it for such granted, I think, right? Because when we lived up north, we would drive like 3 hours for a day at the beach, and then down here it's like, oh well,
I got sand all over.
That's how you gotta get the kids all dressed up and whatever. And all right, so
when the kids were I didn't mean to cut you off. When the kids were really young, we're talking 2 and 3, we didn't really go as much because obviously you get sand and all the wrong places, and that just makes it miserable. Now that they're getting older, 7 and 5, we can play with sand castles and do the normal boogie board, that kind of stuff.
Be a little more interactive, yeah.
Which makes it way more enjoyable versus them overheating and getting sand.
Just starting to cry, yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. That's now. So if you're going to go on, well, I know where you go. That's a good answer. You go to the coldest place you can freaking go when you go on vacation. You're either in Canada, Antarctica, or something like that.
We do like to go to colder environments. My wife's family's all from Toronto, so we go up there during the summer, which is a nice way to escape the summer down here.
Yeah. It's definitely a different environment. I mean, that's if you can do that, that's a great. I mean, snowbirding is a huge occupation down here. We have I want to say at least 10% of the population snowbirds, if not more. I feel like it's probably more than that. It used to be 40%, literally, like everybody would snow, but now we've got such a permanent population down here, and the permanent population has grown exponentially for a multitude of reasons. But and that's you've seen that firsthand, right? Because
absolutely, the real estate market just went nuts,
which is awesome, but.
Is that what you're referencing?
No. I was just because I try to stay away from like I'm a realtor. Everybody knows it. Sometimes it comes up, right? But I don't really focus on that on this. If you go on the YouTube channel, if you subscribe or whatever, then you can go check out all because I've got it separated into a little different, like more real estate related, blah blah blah. But this is more about the enjoyable part. But the reason I was bringing up actually the population growth out here is because. You've been in Wellington for quite some time, right?
Yeah. Gosh, it's 10, 11 years now.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were longer than that. Okay.
Maybe it's longer than that. I'd have to go.
Well, whatever. I don't. So you haven't seen the growth quite as much from back when Wellington was like if you lived east, like people were like what, where, and nobody ever heard of it. Now it's one of the trifectas here,
and it's so international. I mean, there's people from all over the world in Wellington, this tiny little horse town that now is like a
huge little horse
town.
Yeah. Well, it's when we're and let's talk about that a little bit because the Wellington Equestrian Festival, WEF, basically Wellington is the epicenter sort of for I don't know what they call them, discipline riding, dressage, jumping, things like that, even polo on this coast.
Sure.
So you have hunter jumper and stuff like that, but it's not like when people think about just going out western riding or trail riding. There's not a lot of trail riding. There's some super high end riding that goes on here. We've got our top Olympic riders and stuff. Most of them live here now. You got the Jessica Springsteen, who's one of our better riders, the daughter of Bruce Springsteen. So we got a lot of like glitter arty here. Obviously, we got what's that guy's name? The rich guy.
Which one?
No, the really rich one. The one that owns half of Mallet Hill.
Oh, Bill Gates.
Oh, Bill Gates.
Yeah, that guy.
Bill Gates lives there because his daughter rides. And it's kind of cool though, because, you know, in a lot of ways, and, you know, in my previous career, you know, a decade and a half ago, or maybe a little bit more now, I was actually in hospitality, and I ran a local restaurant for a little bit, and you would be amazed at how sort of, you know, it's not crazy. Like, it's not, you know, Bruce Springsteen would come and he would go wait in line. He would go stand in line with other people. Like, he was just such a regular dude. And, you know, for the most part, people didn't gush too much. You know, Kenny Chesney used to be around. You know, there's a lot of different celebrities that used to come in.
Sure.
And for the most part, people just kind of were like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And they're you know, proud that those people live in their town, I guess. But, you know, it's not really, you know,
definitely laid back. I would agree with that. And just get back to the WEF and the horse show, which is one of the main attractions for myself and my family. Very family environment. It's you know, you can go down to the horse show on a Saturday night. It's free admission. I mean, you do have to pay for parking, and that might change over the years. But for predominantly, it's been very welcoming to the community. You know, they've got events for the family. My girls were on the carousel pretty much all night.
But the carousel is always a big draw down there. Yeah,
but it's a nice community, and then you've also got Ocala, which isn't that far, which is also a high class. And I'm not the foremost expert on horse shows, but they rank them on stars. So if you're a 5-star horse show, that's the creme de la creme, like the best of the best. And I believe Wellington has 2 or 3 of those every year.
Yeah, Wellington's got an abundance of 5-star shows. And, you know, when you look at the the level of riding, obviously it's world class. Not, you know, it's literally world class. And when I'm talking about the local people that live here, it's because I don't know a lot of the people that are. I mean, there's people from South America, Uruguay, France, Russia. I mean, they're from everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a polo guy. But the other thing about Wellington that is, you know, makes it, you know, pretty family friendly for stuff like that is that we're a very golf cart friendly community. We actually have little golf cart paths instead of sidewalks and stuff like that. So you can literally throw your family in the golf cart and, you know, jet down to pretty much wherever you're going.
And they're endorsed by the local government. They actually have a path that you can look up. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
The local government done, and they put in stop signs and stuff like that. So it's like its own little mini roadway system.
Exactly.
And you know, the only thing you got to watch out for is the horses, which oftentimes the carts and the horses are on the same path.
Yeah.
You know, the mini bikes, because a lot of the riders get these little mini bikes that they ride around back and forth. That's all they bring with them.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting sort of dynamic. And then polo, you know, I enjoy polo, going to polo. It's kind of fun. It's an exciting game to watch, if you ask me. A lot of people go more for the party. And the glitz and whatever. And that's changed a lot. Now we have the U.S. Polo Association now bought what used to be Palm Beach International Polo. And now, you know, so anyways, it's you know, if it has to do with high end, you know, any high end horse related stuff, we got it right here.
Yeah, that's right.
And then dressage too, which I mean, you know, and look, I've got friends that are dressage riders and stuff, and I'm honest with them, it bores me to tears. I don't get it.
Ballet on horses.
Just listen, it's just not my thing. But the people that get it, they love it. It's amazing. And you know, like, you can find it all right here, all at a world class level. And you mentioned too the dining, right? That's, you know,
very good.
You know, golf, the beach, fishing, like, it's all very attainable. And then of course, and I feel like it gets pretty redundant on this. It's, you know, a couple hours to Orlando, a couple hours to the west coast of Florida, a couple hours to the Keys. Like, it's anything that you want to do in South Florida is very accessible from right here in, you know, Palm Beach County.
Well, I'd read the high-speed train is supposed to open up this summer from West Palm to Orlando, which would, I think, be
it's going to be
huge.
Like
130 miles an hour, I think it goes. It's a bright line.
Yeah, I know, but what math? I don't know the math. How far is it from me? I have no idea how far. Was it like a 40-minute trip then or something on the train?
To go to the train? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I just think of all of the times I've gone to Orlando sitting in bumper to bumper.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. I'm not
seeing a train whizzing by.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. Well, I mean, why don't you just hop in your plane and go fly to Orlando?
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be like a 30-minute trip or something.
It's still about an hour, believe it or not, because when you go into Orlando, you can't go direct. You get kind of vectored around because it's such a busy.
Yeah, you got to stay away from the other planes. Yeah,
stay away from the big guys. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but the train, and right now it goes from Miami. It just skips.
Yeah. It goes to Fort Lauderdale too. It just skips in between those two. But I've actually never rode it. But it looks.
Me either.
Nice.
My daughter does. She likes they'll take it down to Miami or something if they're going to go there. I mean, I don't blame her. She didn't want to drive down there. They go to.
And I think it goes down to quite a nice area in Miami. I mean, I think it's like by the Heat Arena, because I've seen the tickets where you can jump on there and go to the
games and stuff. I have no idea. Well, assumedly, then if you can take it to the games, it's got to be right next to. Actually, I think I know where No, that wouldn't be a.
But it
wouldn't make sense. The one in Lauderdale, I'm thinking.
It's interesting because South Florida is very spread out in that sense. You need an automobile. You can't really. I would say you can't really rely on public transportation. So this is a good step forward for that, which is kind of nice.
Well, I mean, we have busing systems and stuff like that, and the buses are around, but it's not like up north where, it's definitely not as, you can get anywhere. But yeah, but the public transportation, I mean, it is here, it's definitely here, but like you said, everything's spread out, and they can only stop so many places, right?
Exactly.
If you're up north in some of the more condensed metro areas, I mean, you stop every block with a bus or every 2 blocks and whatever. But here it's, very, very true. And now, basically, if you start in southern Miami and go all the way up here to Palm Beach County, it's kind of all one big metro area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there used to be sort of divisions. But now it's almost hard to tell, like unless you see the signs, you would never know because it's a giant, sprawling, loosely packed metropolis, basically.
Yeah, and as the farther east you go, more dense.
Yeah, the further east you go, definitely, because most people the draw is the water,
the ocean.
The ocean.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And I've got a couple people on there that, or had a couple people on there, and we'll have more people on there that live on that side just for that reason,
Yeah.
But that's the other nice thing about down here is you can pick your experience, kind of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's not anywhere else that I can think of besides South Florida where you can live right on the ocean, or right on the intercoastal, whatever you want to do, and you can still access within, an hour, all the great golf, all the great equestrian, all the great, or you can go out to Loxahatchee and live on a 1 acre, 2 acre, 5 acre property and still be 45, well, maybe an hour to the beach now.
Yeah.
Less than an hour to the beach, depending on where you're at. It just, I don't know a lot of places where you can do that and have all the stuff that we have, all the dining, all the entertainment, all the, world-class, everything basically.
Yeah.
You can go up to a little further in the North County. Now Port St. Lucie, St. Lucie County is becoming much more like Palm Beach. It's, really growing up, so to speak. But it's not quite, at the level of.
It's still like a beach town, whereas I feel like West Palm is more of a urban environment.
Yeah, and what's going to we've become very. The word egalitarian is coming into my mind, but that's not what I'm looking for. Fancy, I don't know, bougie. That's what bougie is the word. Yeah, bougie is the word. We've become very fancy around here, and we literally do have. You go to the Kravitz Center and you can see plays from the top, off Broadway productions, around. You go to some of the dining. Daniel Boulud has got a really nice restaurant just right down the street from here. Mm-hmm. And obviously, it's not that much of a stretch to get to Boca Raton.
Yeah,
to get up to Gardens. Palm Beach Gardens has some amazing dining. Boca Raton has pretty amazing dining. And I'm a foodie. My wife and I are foodies. We love to eat.
Yeah.
But right in downtown West Palm Beach now, Clematis Street has kind of seen a resurgence of higher end, nicer stuff. You don't necessarily have to go on to Palm Beach Island, to get a high end meal anymore. You used to. I mean, it used to be.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can go on Palm Beach Island and just hop on and about from here 45 minutes to an hour, depending on
depending on traffic. Yeah.
So all of that is available to you.
And if the bridges are up.
Yeah,
that's another thing you got to worry about.
Yeah, bridges. Yeah, we haven't really had too many problems with the bridges lately. There was an issue for a while where we had 2 of them that were barely working, but they managed to get them fixed. All right. Well, but your experience is a lot different than a lot of our guests, and that's just to show that there's a lot of diversity in the way that you can live here in South Florida, and hopefully we'll be. I'll be commuting with you as my pilot more often down the Keys here shortly, and we can get some business done down there. But thank you for coming on the show, Zach, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into Living in South Florida Does Not Suck. Please remember to subscribe, hit the bell. I'm not sure what the things are going to be, but like it on Facebook, share it with your friends, spread it amongst the world. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you here again for the next one.